We are live.
Awesome. Hey, everyone.
Hello. Hey, hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I know we are 2 minutes late today for the session, but it's fine. I think, sorry, apologies for delay, right? But today we are having another insightful session on blockchain, right? And today we are having Joe Bender with us, right? So he's a developer evangelist at Blockstack, and he's going to tell you about like how you can work with Clarity and how Clarity enables Web3 on stacks, right? So uh, yeah, so this workshop is going to cover up about the Clarity, about the Blockstack, right? And also we are having a specific challenge from the side of Blockstack for this hackathon, where you can win up to 20,000 of rupees, Indian rupees, right? In a prize if you build something using Clarity and Blockstack, right? So that's bit about the challenge, and that's bit about the session, right? So over to you, Joe. You can carry on now. Over to you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for the intro. Appreciate it. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. I think people should be able to see my screen right now. Yeah, there we go. Hey, everyone. I am Joe Bender, developer evangelist at Blockstack. Happy to be back here with Zubi again. I think this might be my third session with you guys, and always enjoy the passion coming from your community. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about how Clarity is enabling Web3 on the Stacks 2.0 blockchain, and a couple other things just about our technology. I think I can see the chat. Feel free to post in the chat if you have a question at all. Always down to hold the brakes and answer some questions. Like I said, I'm Joe Bender, developer evangelist. I've been at Blockstack for around 8 months now, and my number one focus is just getting out in the world and teaching people about what we do, what we offer, and all of our tools and applications. My favorite quarantine activity was definitely browsing Bitcoin memes, especially today with Bitcoin breaking its all-time high. Just open the meme gates and unleash them. Twitter's going to be a minefield today. Mooney once said, no company on the internet should have so much power that they get to debate if they should be evil today or not. That's kind of a jab at Google's old slogan, don't be evil, because don't implies that there's a decision to make there, that someone is deciding not to be evil. And we think that you should build technology that itself cannot be evil, and we want to build that technology to bring in the user-owned internet. Right now, the internet's owned by the FANG companies, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, all these massive conglomerates that are kind of selling our data to advertisers and monetizing you as the product. We want to transition away from that model, which we think is unsustainable, unhealthy, is hurting consumers, and transition to a more self-sovereign user-controlled model where the infrastructure is on blockchain and being controlled by people. Transactions are private and secure. Your self-sovereign identity is portable and private, all that good stuff. So at Blockstack, we are trying to develop open source software in the form of a blockchain that will provide an alternative to those old centralized systems. We've got a full stack decentralized computing network, a bunch of offerings, storage, self-sovereign identity, the blockchain part, Explorer, Connect. We have so many different components to our tech stack that are kind of enabling all the different things you need to bring forth the user-controlled internet. And we really just want to empower developers to create applications that return digital rights to developers and consumers. Stacks 2.0. Right now, we are in the middle of the most critical part of the Stacks 2.0 testnet. As of 2 days ago, the Stacks 2.0 testnet is feature complete. That means that there are no more major consensus critical features to be tacked on. First and foremost, we believe that the user-controlled internet, this Web3, will be ushered in with Bitcoin. Wow, this is the perfect day for me to be giving this presentation. We really think Bitcoin is here to stay. As you can see, it's far and away the highest market cap. It's got that household name recognition. It's in TV shows. It's on subway graffiti. It's literally everywhere. and has proven itself time and time again as a store of value and just the premium cryptocurrency in the market right now. It's the safest. It's the most secure. It has the highest network effect. So we really think that anchoring blockchains into Bitcoin in some way is only going to benefit down the line. And Stacks 2.0 kind of represents the design by which Web3 can emerge and scale, but on Bitcoin. You don't need to start a whole new chain and forsake Bitcoin. Not entirely sure how blockchain privy you guys all are. Maybe you just know about Bitcoin and have had Coinbase before. Maybe some of you have messed around with other blockchains. But if you've heard of Ethereum or Tezos or Ripple or any of these other chains, you know that it can be difficult to start an entirely new community and break away from the Bitcoin security. So Stacks 2.0 decided to anchor itself into Bitcoin, but still put a premium on that security, scalability, and speed, which Bitcoin can struggle with sometimes. It's been around for 10 years, and by now we know what it is. We know its benefits, we know its shortcomings. It can be a little slow. It's hard to use the cryptocurrency sometimes for like a medium of exchange, for buying coffees and stuff. But it is secure and powerful and robust. And we think that it should be like the global settlement layer. Everything can tie back to Bitcoin. You can do a bunch of transactions off chain, but then making sure that you settle up on Bitcoin eventually. I'll tear through this real quick. 3 cool things about Stacks 2.0 is proof of transfer, the new consensus mechanism. Bitcoin and Ethereum use proof of work, where it's all these supercomputers working away in a warehouse in Siberia trying to solve a crazy cryptographic hash. That is a really unique way to solve a problem. It's a really cool way to solve a problem, but it's a little wasteful and not the most sustainable thing. Every month a new report comes out that's like, Bitcoin's energy usage equals this small Scandinavian country or something. They love comparing it to the output of a singular country just to show the impact of the state of Bitcoin. Yes, it's bad. It was a means to an end, almost like a Band-Aid. We had to expend something to make the Bitcoin mining valuable, and it ended up being computing power and electricity. Ethereum is transitioning to proof of stake, where instead of like computers burning electricity, they're locking up tokens and saying, I trust this network, so I'm going to lock up a certain amount of ether on it for X amount of time, validate transactions, and be rewarded for it. That's also cool and all, but has never really been tried en masse in the wild. We don't know what it will look like with massive amounts of the native currency being locked up, or how validator economics will work, or delegated validating or pooling, or any of that craziness. I'm really excited to see how it goes down on ETH 2.0, but still uncertain. So we developed the proof of transfer consensus mechanism. Totally new. You're not burning electricity. You're not locking up tokens. It's kind of a hybrid of a couple things. You are transferring a small amount of Bitcoin to compete to mine. So instead of burning electricity, you are simply sending Bitcoin to a certain address that's controlled by the blockchain. Now, what's interesting about this Bitcoin that miners are transferring, they have a chance of getting stacks as the block reward, but that Bitcoin that they transferred then goes to a group that we call stackers. And that's where stacking comes in. If you have a bunch of stacks token, STX, that's the native token on the Stacks 2.0 blockchain. Let's say you're just chilling. You don't really have a need for it right now. So you can go ahead and lock it up on the blockchain in a mechanism called stacking. It adds value to the network. It reduces the total supply of the Stacks tokens. It's just a good actor action, which is why they should be rewarded with the Bitcoin from the miners. One last component of Stacks 2.0 is Clarity. I talked about this a little last time if anyone was here. It's just the smart contract programming language that allows you to code business logic and put it on the blockchain. It's basically a piece of software that lives in the blockchain that does stuff with money and data and changes the state of the blockchain. I'll dive a little bit more into that later. Like I said, We really think anchoring to Bitcoin is going to be the silver bullet here of just breaking out of the bootstrapping problem. And, it can be hard to catalyze a new community in blockchain because there's so many tribes and so many blockchains. You don't know which one to call your own. And people can be hesitant to try out new technologies or new features, which is why a lot of Bitcoiners have been sitting on the sidelines watching all these decentralized applications spring up. You guys might have heard of decentralized finance, DeFi, that's really taken off the last year or two. Kind of crazy cryptographic financial instruments that literally haven't been possible before because blockchain hadn't existed yet, and also hadn't really been accessible to non-accredited investors. The financial system in America just really grinds my gears, and for so long the accredited investor system made me rage that it was such a closed door meeting of the super rich getting super richer. And I think DeFi and blockchain gives the lowest consumer level the chance to invest in things without a bank snooping over their shoulder or something like that. So Bitcoin was launched in 2009, kind of like the first, I don't know if it was the first cryptocurrency ever, but it definitely was the first to gain mainstream attention and really kind of break out of the niche hobbyist community. Yeah, currently over 200 billion market cap. Let's see where it's at and where the dominance is at. Oh God, my Wi-Fi is not on. Oh yeah, this chart is a little outdated from October 13th. Go computer, go. Bitcoin dominance is at 65.5%. That's pretty killer. And market cap is at 430 million. What was it at in this? 200 million. Yeah, it's at 430 billion, not millions, which is showing how the crypto market can rapidly expand and contract, but kind of continues its upward trend. So, talking a little bit about Mainnet Stacks 2.0 launch that I mentioned earlier, we, as of December 15th, are feature complete. This is not a code freeze because that sounds like a not intelligent idea to freeze all your code and not be able to work on it a month before launch. We opted for a feature completeness. So all of the feature critical, consensus critical, protocol level important stuff is in fact done. The features are done. However, we wanted to give ourselves a month to kick the tires and test it and squash bugs and give it out to the community a bit, let them mess around with it. We think that's important to make sure the product is of a certain threshold of quality. And, we've waited so long. We've had such an awesome long testnet period of hackathons and experimentation. What is one more month of final checks? We really think this is a smart decision going into the holidays, letting our engineers take some time to passively re-examine the code and kind of defragment things a bit. And there will be some work to do outside of the core Stacks blockchain work, such as the kind of tertiary suite of products around it, like the Explorer or the Stacks blockchain API, or Connect, which allows you to put Blockstack ID into your app and log in with Blockstack ID. There will be features that will be worked on into 2021, but we are feature complete as of 2 days ago, right? It's the 17th. This was the very first GitHub commit of the Stacks 2.0 blockchain in 2018, November 14th, a little over 2 years ago. Just really exciting to see how far we've come since then, since Jude Nelson pushed this to GitHub a long, long time ago. So, why are we here today? I'm going to talk a little bit about smart contracts. This is kind of the component of the hackathon that's going on this weekend. And there are a lot of smart contract devs out in the world. Some of you guys might have developed smart contracts. It's much less intimidating than you may think. I know blockchain seems like newfangled technology where you're doing dark magic with cryptocurrency, but it's a programming language just like anything else. Just takes a little bit to grab the syntax and the keywords and the structure of the code. But we have seen so many newcomers come into the Blockstack community over the last couple months, over the testnet, and rapidly grasped all this stuff. The learning curve is not that difficult, and there's a lot of great resources out there in the wild, a lot of great boilerplates and examples that you can kind of piggyback off of and learn from. So smart contracts, I said, they kind of encode and enforce rules on the blockchain. They exist on the blockchain. They're kind of deployed onto it with a transaction. Anyone can query them. Anyone can submit a transaction to execute a certain function in a contract. It can result in new contracts being made. So there can be like a daisy chain of transactions. And I mentioned the global state. Blockchains are literally just state machines. Another word for them is called state machine. You're in one state and then some things happen and then you lock in the next state before you do anything else. So using Bob and Alice, the classic example, it's like the first state, the first block in the blockchain is Bob has 10 and Alice has 10. Then let's say there's a transaction of Alice sent Bob 3. So then it's like, boom, blockchain, next block, lock it in. Now, I forget what I said, but I think it's like Bob has 13 and Alice has 7. That's the next state. And that's all a blockchain is. Now it gets really complicated when there's millions of nodes and transactions and everything. But it is as simple as that. The transactions get ordered in a certain way. They get verified by nodes on the network, and boom, blockchain locked in, a certain amount of transactions and account balances and everything. And then we move on to the next one. So apps that take advantage of smart contracts can modify that global state. Smart contracts do interesting things on the blockchain with value and money. So obviously it's going to be changing those wallet balances and sending transactions to different smart contracts that do different things with different cryptocurrencies. And it gets pretty complicated, but it all boils down to the state and progressing through the state as a blockchain. Anyone can audit smart contracts once they're on the blockchain. It is a public protocol, and that's kind of cool. It allows for good security practices. Other people can audit smart contracts that other people developed, kind of good oversight there. So, a lot of words about smart contracts. What do they do? It gets a little easier to grasp when you think about the use cases behind smart contracts. They could be used for access control, logging into a certain website or platform that you use or purchased. Non-fungible and fungible tokens. No, this isn't mushroom related. This isn't fungi token. This is a certain categorization of token that means a token is special on its own or it's special as a group. Non-fungibles are tokens that every single one is unique. So this is like collectibles or digital art. Digital art's really taking off right now in the blockchain space, and it's called NFTs, non-fungible tokens. There's been super cool GIF NFTs. One of my favorite artists right now, RAC, has been putting out a lot of GIF NFTs where it's music combined with visuals and you view it through a web browser, but it's denoted as an NFT token. And those are selling for thousands and thousands of dollars because they're cool and people are starting to put value into things that you can't hold in your hand, And then fungible tokens, instead of each and every one being special, like a piece of art, the group of them is special together and not one is more important than another. And that's why they're needed for stable coins. Stable coins are cryptocurrency tokens that have crazy economic mechanisms behind them that ensure that they are steady at a certain price level. The volatility of crypto was kind of freaking people out for a couple years there. So stable coins broke onto the scene, like Coinbase's USDC or Tether or the DAI token from MakerDAO. And these are tokens that are going to kind of stabilize at $1 most of the time. They go to 99 cents or 101 sometimes when the volume is wonky. But there's a lot of safeguards in place that will typically keep it close to $1. Business model templates could also be a good use case for smart contracts, such as a subscription service. Let's say you subscribe to a newsletter or a certain digital magazine. Once a month, they could deduct a certain amount of cryptocurrency from your account as your fee for using that platform. As well as app-specific blockchains. You could use smart contracts to make an entire app ecosystem, like on Stacks 2.0, or decentralized autonomous organizations, which is basically like a company that lives on the blockchain and is kind of just controlled by transactions. A bunch of people put money into a DAO and then vote on certain things, and that DAO like disperses funds. I'll get into a little bit more of that later. It's a bit dense. So Clarity is really cool, and it enables all of these crazy applications I was talking about. It's similar to some smart contract programming languages that you see on other blockchains, such as Solidity on Ethereum, or heck, I don't even know any programming languages on other ones, on like Tezos or Near or something like that. The benefit of Clarity, though, is that it is interpreted and decidable, and that's extremely different from Solidity. Interpreted means it is written in kind of human, digestible words. If you go through the contract, it is, if this is more than this, then output this, and you can kind of follow it. And that is how it looks on the Stacks 2.0 blockchain. It is digested by the blockchain just in that form. However, Solidity smart contracts on Ethereum have to run through the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, kind of the virtual machine on the blockchain. And it gets manipulated into bytecode that the blockchain can understand. And now this is just a jumble of hexadecimal characters that no one could make any sense of. And that's an important step of obfuscation that makes auditing difficult. It makes just looking at contracts on the blockchain in raw kind of difficult. Which is why we think Clarity smart contracts just being able to be read right as they are is a huge benefit for developers, and honestly more secure. It's also decidable. Solidity was Turing complete. That means that it operates like a computer. It can run through programs. It runs programmatically through lines of code. And that also means it gives it a couple functionality that such as looping or running through a runtime through a certain statement, and then just go whatever that statement does, it's going to do it. That can be good in some aspects. It allows you to loop in certain nuanced situations, but Clarity is deliberately not Turing complete. And while you lose some functionality like looping, you gain so much security and predictability. So many of the attacks on Solidity smart contracts, such as a big DAO hack back in 2017, or a big multi-sig wallet hack a couple years ago, were because of reentrancy attacks and gas exploits and all this stuff, because Solidity is Turing complete. So we make Clarity deliberately not Turing complete. It allows you to determine precisely what is going to happen when you execute that contract. You can follow every single tributary and stream down to the end of its runtime. Whereas in Turing complete programming languages, you cannot be sure. You don't know where the variables are going to fall and allow what statements to execute. It's kind of a coin flip on what the actual end execution of the contract will be. Clarity is Lisp-based, and that we think that makes it familiar to a lot of devs. It's accessible if you've coded before. I mentioned some use cases earlier, and these are the types of smart contracts that can enable some of those use cases. You could have a simple exchange that's just exchanging tokens between one another. A counter contract increments a value over and over. Deeds would represent an asset or a piece of real estate or ownership of any asset. You could have a balance address checker that's checking a certain wallet balance. You could have a lottery, a blind lottery, delegated voting. I'm waiting for the day that the presidential election is held on the blockchain. And basic provenance, I think, is an important one for supply chain. Blockchain, maybe just because they both have chain in them, is the perfect vehicle for the supply chain to be revolutionized through. we don't know where our food is coming from a lot of the time. We don't know why our packages are taking so long. If we could use blockchain to track the provenance of items, scan them at every checkpoint, have an online registry of where your package has been, where you source that sushi fish from, it would make things much more ethical and kind of alleviate some of the trouble that we run into with sustainable farming and treatment of workers. And the supply chain has an impact on a lot more than just the things sitting on the truck. So the Stacks 2.0 testnet rollout was super interesting for me, honestly, because I joined Blockstack around 8-9 months ago, and that's right when the testnet was rolling out. So I feel like my life at Blockstack has been synonymous with the life of the testnet. We cycled through 4 testnet phases: Neon, Argon, Krypton, Xenon. I think they're noble gases. Don't quote me on that. Right now, we are in the Xenon phase. The plane is coming down to the runway. We see the lights blinking in front of us. I mentioned we have a month left to test the code complete, the feature complete code, make sure it's all set. The benefits of a testnet were a no-brainer. Using testnet BTC and testnet stacks allowed our community and our devs to just tinker with stuff without any real-world value, risk of losing money on a testnet. It's kind of a parallel network that is the same exact thing as the eventual mainnet, but without any actual value. So we saw a lot of great smart contracts built, a lot of cool experimental projects demonstrating the power of Stacks 2.0, what it can do, and what it will eventually do when mainnet launches, and the smart contracts will be etched in stone on the blockchain. A bunch of stuff you can do in the testnet right now. You could download the Stacks blockchain software and spin up a node. You could turn that node into a miner and participate in that proof of transfer consensus mechanism. You could create a wallet with the JavaScript command line interface that we have. Try out the BTC rewards I was talking about with stacking. Lock up your Stacks token, earn BTC rewards. Build a Clarity smart contract and deploy it to the testnet and see it run, watch it purr as it digests crypto and does interesting things. You could send testnet transactions between 2 accounts. You could play in the new Explorer sandbox, which takes a lot of the stuff I just said and kind of compartmentalizes it into a web browser. It lets you try out a bunch of the functionality without downloading the whole node software or getting your development environment all configured. You could also submit bug bounties to earn BTC, which is huge. We've had a bunch of community members step up and complete bug bounties, really bringing in the big bucks. Someone completed a stacking calculator and made 3K. Amazing. We love to see the community step up and be compensated for it. These are the 2 tutorials for running a testnet node and starting a miner. They are so short. They will take you 10 to 20 minutes. I would encourage everyone to go check it out. Running a node is so important, especially on a new network. We don't have the household nameism of Bitcoin. Maybe we'll get there someday, but it's so important to have people running nodes and processing transactions and mining and earning rewards for it. Running a node is important because you can trust the blockchain. You could send a transaction from your own node. You don't have to rely on third parties. More nodes and miners equals a faster network scalability. It's inexpensive, unlike on Bitcoin and Ethereum, where you have these massive ASICs. They're called ASICs. They're custom GPUs that they just fill warehouses full of to compete to mine Bitcoin. That is not the case on Stacks 2.0. You could run a miner on a Raspberry Pi for all I care. It's as simple as just sending a certain amount of Bitcoin, or as a stacker, signaling a Bitcoin address. So you do not need crazy intensive hardware to be able to do that. You could participate in mining. You have autonomy. If the blockchain undergoes a hard fork, you as a node operator has the decision to what fork you would like to go to. And it's easy. It's a couple lines of code. Okay, moving on to new developer tooling. In the last couple months, we've had some awesome hackathon projects, and our engineers have been stepping up and releasing little tools and accompaniments to try to make the entire development ecosystem a little easier. And these are some of my favorite. ClarityDAO is a super badass in-browser IDE that shows you the output as you're typing it on the left there. It's kind of visual. gives you a bunch of examples there that allow you to demonstrate certain functionality in Clarity tools. We've had our community members use this in demos and kind of video tutorials. Super straightforward and probably the best way to assimilate into Clarity. There's a lot of great examples on the left side there that will demonstrate the power of Clarity. VSCode Extensions. If you're developing smart contracts without any autocomplete or text highlighting, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a VSCode extension ain't one. Clarity LSP and Clarity language support are the two that you're going to want to pick up. One was made by Ludo, one of our engineers at Blockstack, and the other might have been made from Blockstack, but might have also been a community member. It kind of defines the protocol used between the editor and the IDE and the language server and provides really useful information like auto-completing the most frequent commands or keywords. You can go to definition. You can find all references of a certain type. Really critical when trying to learn the language. It'll reduce the learning curve like crazy and help you get acclimated with the keywords and the method names and stuff you'll be using most in Clarity. If you're using VS Code, I would definitely recommend downloading these. If you're not using VS Code, I'd even recommend you start using it in order to develop with Clarity, because I think that's the text editor that most of the developers in our community have been using lately. Next up is SpeedSend, developed by one of our rockstar developers, Frieger. This is kind of a little petri dish test bed for Stacks 2.0. Allows you to do a couple things. SpeedSend allows you to send Stacks token. HODL allows you to send Stacks tokens between your own Stacks address and your app Stacks address. You can flip a coin with a jackpot. You can play around with these little monster NFTs, Tamagotchi-like NFTs. This is just a really cool... it almost looks like a glimpse into Frieger's brain. Frieger's really been grasping the language and pushing it forward the last couple months, and it looks like this is kind of his sketch pad for trying out little compartmentalized features. Video demos. Oh, here's Clarity tools being used in a video demo, like I just mentioned. That's Frieger in the picture there, and Harini. They have been doing a video series on Clarity. So if you're really hesitant to start, there are literally videos that will spoon feed you the technology and work through it. These two community members are super friendly and love breaking down complex topics into simple, relatable terms. And they kind of work through building a Clarity program from scratch, and then they move on to building like a big developer registry for Clarity devs. And it's just really showing off all of the different things you can do with Clarity in a simple, short, digestible demo session. So having an IDE open with this video playing on another monitor, that's going to be the best way to learn. This is another video demo. This was the registry one. You can see this is a public function. Register a name with this many characters. Look up this. Define an ID. It's a string of ASCII characters. This is basically just a map of names mapping to addresses. Gitpod Clarity Browser IDE. Much like Clarity Tools, this is an in-browser Clarity text editor. But this one is much more fully fledged. This is basically VS Code in the browser. Frieger also set this up. This is a Gitpod. It's kind of just an in-browser IDE, but allows you to configure all those dependencies and libraries that you need and special externalities you got to download. So if maybe you don't have a great computer, you don't want to download VS Code, this is a great way to tinker straight from the browser. We actually just released our stacking documentation recently. That stacking functionality I was talking about, where you can lock up Stacks token and then receive Bitcoin for it. That's kind of the super novel part about it, in that most protocols, when you're stacking a token, you're receiving that same token back. And it's kind of, you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. You got to diversify your investment. And by investment, I mean social and attention and fiscal. So we really think that since people are coming to the Stacks 2.0 blockchain, they're trying it out, they're locking up their Stacks token, receiving Bitcoin as a reward there is a huge incentive for people to stick around and engage with the blockchain and use their cryptocurrency for fun stuff, applications. There's 2 guides out right now that'll help you first understand stacking and then integrate stacking into your app, your wallet or exchange. One day we're hoping to just see a bunch of awesome mobile applications or web applications that you can stack from, signal how long you'd like to stack, how much you'd like to stack. And this integrate stacking guide is going to be critical for developers to put this feature into their app or mobile wallet or something like that. You can also receive testnet tokens from the Faucet, testnet stacks, or testnet BTC if you need testnet crypto to play around with your app or have users test. Pretty simple. You just put an address, click the button, should be there in a little bit. This was our DevX team's crown jewel this year, the Stacks.js mono repo. Mono meaning one. All of these repos condensed down into a single mono repo: auth, storage, transactions, command line interface, keychain, network, encryption, profile. All of these are at your disposal in a single Stacks.js mono repo now. This is a much better silver bullet for developers than tracking down all these different components on their own. Yeah, our DevX team was really excited about this, and I know it's saving developers a bunch of time. Community projects. Okay. So we've talked about the technology for a really, really long time. Now I'd like to show you what you can do with the technology. First and foremost being Swapper. Swapper was one of our hackathon winners a couple months back, and it is kind of an exploration on how to implement an automated token exchange modeled after Uniswap, if you've heard of Uniswap on Ethereum, in Clarity for Stacks 2.0. Right now in crypto, it's kind of dominated by centralized exchanges like Coinbase or Binance or Bittrex, or I don't even know the other exchanges now. Is Bittrex even still alive? Bitmain. What's the one with Arthur Hayes? I forget. Regardless, these are big centralized corporations that are trying to motivate their profit. So decentralized exchanges that live on the blockchain, aren't controlled by a company or anything, are just smart contracts, is the way to trade crypto. Swapper was an implementation of the most prominent decentralized exchange, Uniswap. Super secure, super fast. People loved its functionality. Swapper is just an implementation of that on Stacks 2.0 with Clarity. There's also a separate contract wrapper that is included in this project, and it allows you to wrap stacks into a fungible token like we talked about earlier in a fashion similar to wrapped ETH on Ethereum, if you've ever heard of that. And it allows you to exchange stacks with other tokens and get some interoperability, which is super cool. You can see on the right, these are the methods in it. It makes total sense. One of the methods is add to position. You could add to your position if you're trying to trade tokens. You could reduce your position. You could swap exact X for Y. I want to swap this token for that token. Pretty basic methods, but super critical functionality. ClarityDAO. We talked about DAOs earlier, decentralized autonomous organizations that live on the blockchain. Moloch DAO was one of the biggest DAOs on Ethereum over the last couple years. To put it simply, a DAO is like a smart contract that lives in the blockchain, and lots of people put money in it. It's almost like a grant giving mechanism. So a lot of people put monies, and then you vote on what you would like to see built on proposals. People can submit proposals. So you can see the main functions of the DAO are submit proposal, cancel proposal, sponsor a proposal. You could sponsor one, submit a vote on a proposal, process the proposal, and rage quit. Rage quitting is if you did not vote for a proposal, but then it still gets accepted, you are able to rage quit the DAO and bring your funds with you, which is an interesting kind of eject button there. So proposal, members of the DAO vote for a proposal. It passes with a simple majority. Members who did not vote yes can quit the community and take their shares. This incentivizes proposals that all members can live with. That's a really critical part of it. You're trying to go for like unanimous decisions here. And the Clarity code for ClarityDAO is very close in origin to the Solidity code, same variables and function names, just a couple different nuances. Blockstack Wallet. Look how beautiful that UI is. This is an open source mobile wallet that kind of enables Stacks transactions. The app is currently in the process of being submitted to app stores, the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. We know how painstaking of a process that can be. So I'm excited for this to come live, but it might be a little while. However, right now, the APK for Androids is available if you wanted to start to tinker with it on the dev side. The private keys are saved in the secure enclave on the device. You have to use Face ID or Touch ID to get into it. And it comes with all the features you would expect from a mobile wallet. Sending and receiving crypto, listing the transactions in like a history, a stacking dashboard, the ability to stack stacks within the app. On the testnet, you could receive tokens from the faucet. Private keys are stored securely, beautiful UI, light and dark mode, all the good stuff you want to see from a mobile wallet. FiStack is a unified, decentralized platform where managers can kind of manage payroll and their employees, similar to QuickBooks or Brex or Xero. I hadn't heard of Brex or Xero, but I know my mom used QuickBooks for her small business. And it allows you to enter in detailed information for all your employees, as well as their salary and any other details or financial information. This project uses a ledger.clar Clarity file. .clar is the file extension for Clarity smart contracts. And it used a map to kind of a map is a certain data construct in the Clarity smart contract language, and it's basically like an array. It used a map to pair people with their BTC address, and then certain times of the month give them payment, their salary. It also makes certain functions only available to the administrator, like the boss, so they can fix things if need be. Now that's different from like the infrastructure of the app being centralized. Like it's okay to have an app with a boss controlling it if it's a payroll app. If it's a public donation app, you don't want the single point of control to be able to modify things. Snack Pack is a tool used to create Raspberry Pi Raspbian images for a Raspberry Pi device. If you don't know what a Raspberry Pi device is, the picture of it right there. It's a small single board computer, kind of designed to be the most affordable computer on the market. They're usually around like $30 or something. Not super powerful, but does everything you need to be a computer. You know, it's got an operating system, it's got power, it's got a processor. Doesn't have a big GPU, but still works. The Stacks Pack was an awesome package that one of our community members made that configures a Raspberry Pi device all ready to become a Stacks miner. So you burn an image to the Raspberry Pi device, you log into Stacks Pack Miner using a keyboard or a secure shell. You configure network options, make sure it's connected to the blockchain. You use an external hard drive to hold the mining data. Keychain is created, and boom, you start your miner and begin contributing to the security of the Stacks 2.0 network. It is that simple. Like I said, you don't need a big flashy GPU or supercomputer or some basement full of server racks to be able to mine. You just need a computer and a command line. Another really cool token trait that came out recently was the SRC20 token trait. Was created by the same person that made Swapper, which was kind of funny because they found the need for this, so then they made it. There was like a necessity for this type of token trait, so they went out and built it. It's kind of a play on ERC20. ERC was Ethereum request for comment, kind of a certain process on GitHub where you propose an update to Ethereum. It was just the acronym they chose. and it's a standard for tokens. You can see on the right there is the SRC20 trait. It's basically just a way to define new tokens. And it makes sense if you look at it. You can see, the human readable name of the token. You have to set the name of the token, the ticker, the number of decimals used, the balance of the contract that has the tokens. It's basically just like defining a new money. And this was super important on Ethereum. The ERC20 token trait took over the crypto market. If you look at the crypto coin market cap top 100 coins, so many of them are ERC20 tokens because they're interoperable, they're widely accepted, the standard was adopted, and it took off. So many of the big tokens you see, Tether, Chainlink, all of these tokens are ERC20 tokens, still based on Ethereum. So we think having an SRC20 token is super critical to encouraging that type of thriving token ecosystem, because it allows different tokens to be traded and used and bundled together. They can all do the same things. They have all the same methods within them. So we think Stack's request for comment 20 will really allow for standardization and interoperability in the ecosystem. How to get involved. There's a million links here. You can click on them all. I will share this presentation link in the chat, I believe. Yeah, I can do that. Just let me get the last slide first. You can check out our updated documentation. We just had a docs week, which was a dedicated week for documentation overhaul. We had community members stepping up, fixing typos, putting in images. The docs have never been better. There's a forum for longer form posts. Discord is your single source of truth. The Blockstack team eventually just migrated into the Discord. So now we are there with our community. And we even have some internal conversations out in the open in public channels. You can come and snoop on the internal stuff. You could follow Blockstack on Twitter. We're just transitioning our whole brand over to really new, pretty branding. You might have seen some of it in this presentation. Read our white papers, contribute code, complete bounties, participate in hackathons, sign up for the newsletter, bunch of stuff you can do. This is the Discord. I'm going to give you guys a little glimpse into the Blockstack world. This is the Discord, probably the best place to go to meet some other developers from our community, share ideas, ask for advice. This is the forum, like I said, for long form posts. You could post something there, have replies trickle in over the next few days, have people read on it, think about it, and come back a little less like conversational than the Discord. And the docs. Oh, these are the new docs with the overhaul. Look at that beautiful night mode design and flat logos. The docs have come so far since the beginning of Testnet. We've added so many tutorials, added color to a lot of the pages, literal color and metaphorical color. And everything you could need is there to get started on the blockchain, whether you want to mine, whether you want to stack, whether you want to build smart contracts, whether you just want to learn about it first. It's all here waiting for you. I had some discussion questions here. Looks like we're running short on time here, but if you ever wanted to ideate on blockchain and its potential and what smart contracts can do and what decentralized applications will usher in, these are some good questions to think about. What type of dApp, decentralized app, would I even most desire in my life? Maybe decentralized health records. The medical industry is a mess with health records and big folders full of much colored tabs and transferring health records between doctors. I think the blockchain could be great for medical records. What do you think the biggest hurdle would be for a non-crypto enthusiast? Some of the crazy hexadecimal beep boop number stuff, it can seem very intimidating and computer sciencey, but there are ways to choose your own adventure. You can bite off as much as you can chew. Balance of blockchain education versus obfuscation. Every blockchain project in the space right now is deciding how much to educate their consumers or how much blockchain to hide. When you use the internet, you don't know much about TCP/IP or IP addresses or packets or stuff like that, but you're still using the internet. So we're kind of deciding how much people really need to know about blockchain to use it. What will be the catalyst that drives the mainstream public to try dApps? That's a really good question. Just need a killer dApp or something. The internet had email. Once email was invented, people were like, well, I gotta have an email. That's how we talk to each other now. We're kind of waiting for that killer app with blockchain. Do you believe crypto already has a 1% assertion? Always a good thing to keep in mind. Those early crypto adopters that scooped up Bitcoin for $10 are always going to have much more capital and social influence. But if it achieves a network effect and ubiquity, then that becomes less of a thing. Will digital collectibles eventually be valued in the same way as physical assets? I think yes, and I think already, I was just saying that these DJs and music producers have started to release NFTs, little music NFTs or visual NFTs on the blockchain, and they're going for thousands and thousands of dollars. I saw one go for a bunch of ETH the other day, over $100,000 worth of value. Does the blockchain need more developers or better marketing? I think it's always going to need both. You need super smart, nerdy people to build really powerful tech, but you also need really smart people to market it and get it out in the world and know what demographics you're aiming for and communities and how to best, what I was saying before, how to best package blockchain and I think we're gonna have to Trojan horse blockchain into people's mainstream lives by being like, I'm just waiting for the killer app. Thinking about the next, Fortnite, but with crypto in it that kids just have to download and play because it sounds so cool. Is hosting blockchain data on Google Cloud or AWS antithetical to decentralization? Another really good question. A lot of blockchain projects like host their stuff on AWS or the cloud. I don't think it's the worst thing ever, but I don't think it's the best thing ever. I think it's sort of an adoption band-aid that we need to use because there's not enough independent infrastructure to run the blockchain without using electricity companies or ISP providers or cloud storage providers. As you see. Whew! That is a mouthful to rifle through at 8:30 in the morning here on the East Coast. We got a blizzard raining down in there. I'm glad my internet stayed throughout. I don't know if we have any time for questions or anything from the audience. Looks like we have a couple more minutes left, but if not, I'm happy to get out of your hair and let you continue this fun Let's Hack 2020. Hey there, Yash. Yeah, talk me out here.
Hey, hi, Joe. So much for the amazing session, right? So, just a minute. So, all those guys, those are watching this. So, if you want to follow Joe on Twitter, so here is Joe's Twitter handle is there. You can just you can find him out over there at Joseph Banger, right? Yeah, on the Twitter. And thank you so much for joining us, Joe, for the. I think it's the third time, right? When you are coming up with
Yeah, I
Zubi.
think
So,
so.
thank you so
I'm
much
a
for taking out your time.
Zubi veteran now. Thanks so much for having me, guys. You throw the best events, and I wish everyone good luck with hacking this week. If you have any questions, you can pop into the Blockstack Discord that I mentioned, into the hashtag hackathons channel, and all the smart people I was talking about before are there to help you. I'm Joe. Good to see you all again. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks. We are signing off. So for all the details, anything if you want, you can reach out to me. I will forward you the all the details related to the handle of the Discord server of the Blockstack. You can go there. You can connect with Joe. You can connect to the Blockstack community. If you want to know more about the challenge of the Blockstack for this hackathon, you can check out the dev post handle over there and get all the details from there and get a chance to win a good amount of money for your projects. Thank you, Joe, for joining
Thanks a
us.
lot.
Bye bye. Signing off.
Have a good day.